Hello. So, for my sustainability project, I want to focus on something that really means a lot to me and that I think has viable real applications. This is something that I'd actually consider pursuing in my future career. For me, I've always valued service and am very interested in working in nonprofits. So, I want to make my sustainable business more like a sustainable nonprofit business. I've already mentioned this in one of my sustainability updates, but something that has recently caught my attention is the idea of sustainable clothing and fashion. This means that we're not just indulging in unrelenting consumerism and buying more and more and more, but we're also, if we're buying new clothes, we're committing to wearing them a lot of times, not simply a few and then just throwing it away. Or, like this shirt, for example, is my grandfather's and he gave it to me because he didn't want any more. So just, continuing to pass on clothing. More importantly, it means buying secondhand clothing or reusing an article and giving it a second life, so to speak. So this would mean going to thrift stores or consignment stores like Goodwill or the Salvation Army or Flashbacks or Plato's Closet right here in Gainesville. So basically the idea is that if you are buying something new, once you're done with it, you're not throwing it away. So we kind of like stop the cycle of just buying and buying and consuming. So taking all this into consideration, I would like to open a thrift store, but a thrift store that specifically partners with various sustainability and environmentally focused organizations and groups throughout the community. Also, I would like to partner with the University of Florida to help fund sustainability focused projects and research. Thus, I see the profits coming from the thrift store and then going right back into the community. I see this kind of business model as being really successful here in Gainesville or perhaps in a city similar to it. There's a really large population of young folks because of the university that not only probably have a lot of clothes that they could donate, but also want a source of kind of more inexpensive clothes. So there's definitely a market for the kinds of services that a thrift store provides. Um, and Gainesville and the surrounding areas also have a lot of awesome organizations that could be really good potential partners for the thrift store, like Florida Organic Growers, the Alachua Conservation Trust, or Swallowtail Farms, just a couple of examples. Additionally, we have a lot of really great opportunities through the university and the Office of Sustainability to give grants to students engaged in sustainable fashion projects. For example, finding out, how you can convert plastic waste or plastic water bottles into wearable clothing. Um, so the idea is that all the profits from the store would go right back into the community or organizations that help the community and its people live more sustainable lives. So it's cyclical, it's a cycle. So it's not just a business with sustainable practices, but rather one that exists to help its community live more sustainably. Eventually, I would hope that the store would grow beyond the scope of just sustainable fashion or clothing to encompass multiple facets of sustainability, in particular, sustainable food or agriculture. I would love to use part of the money from the store to open a community garden. I've gone out and volunteered in communities where you can really see the positive impact that community gardens have, not only as a source of pride and empowerment for their community, but also as a teaching tool for maybe the younger generations. A lot of people also don't realize that part of Gainesville is actually a food desert, meaning that a lot of residents don't have easy access to fresh produce. So that means like non-canned fruits and vegetables or things other than fast food or, junk food really. Um, and I think that a community garden would be a really great way to help alleviate this need. Obviously, starting out on a small scale and then hopefully growing much larger. With the garden, I would like to be able to provide the plots of land for free, and then families or individuals would be responsible for tending to it, and in return, give the store a small percentage of their yields that can be sold in the thrift store. So that kind of like is their payment for the plot. And the rest of what they grow, they can go right back to feed their families or feed others in the community that are experiencing food insecurity. I think a project like this is quite multifaceted and is something that would have to start small but grow and evolve incrementally, kind of step by step. It would also be a great way to link different parts of Gainesville together so that we feel like a more united, cohesive community striving for sustainability together. While I picture a project like this being quite successful, specifically in Gainesville, I think it could be replicated really anywhere that it's needed. And to continue delving into this topic, I really need to research more thoroughly nonprofit organizations that kind of maybe follow a similar structure. So, for example, like Habitat Humanity Restores and Habitat for Humanity, and see how their business model functions and like what the percentage of profits are that could actually be given back into the community that wouldn't just be costs of running the store. I would also need to look more carefully into how community gardens are made possible. And in order to get initial funding off the ground, I would also have to examine more carefully what the local sources of funding would be and what local sustainability organizations would most benefit from partnerships, or what kind of research projects would be most beneficial. And for the store, some great resources to consult would be the Center for Sustainable Fashion and its various projects. There are also a large multitude of resources online from universities like Clemson and North Carolina State that I've already looked at that have detailed plans on how to start and organize a community garden. So the idea is sustainable fashion, and then here's my beautiful cilantro plant and sustainable ag. Thank you.